Hello guys, welcome to our weekly developer stream. As promised, today we're going to have a special sort of entertainment because we're going to jump deeply into the upcoming Shelter expansion. For those of you who might be not familiar with the idea, we are running something we called wishlist challenge. So the game still has there's a lot of work to be done. So to make this waiting period of those few months before the release a bit more fun for you, to give you something to look up for, we are introducing this challenge. So basically, if you guys want to support our work, you can add Shelter to your wish list. And if a certain number of people adds the game to the wish list, we will unlock special rewards for you. The first one is what you are seeing right now, which is the sneak peek stream. So this is the deep dive into the Shelter expansion. And very soon we'll reach the second goal, which is the Devlor series. So this will be an even more in-depth posts on Steam regarding the various aspects of development of the DLC. So once again, if you guys want to support Shelter, add it to your wishlist, give us a follow on Twitch to stay updated. And now we'll jump right into it. So when we announced firstly the Shelter expansion, many people thought that it's actually some sort of an April Fool's joke, because that's the date when we announced it. But now we can actually confirm that we are making Shelter. And for everyone who was having any doubts, I hope this stream will prove that this game is actually being developed, and it's going to be one of the most advanced DLCs we have released for Cooking Simulator. Namely because we are exploring a very completely brand new setting for a cooking game, right? Because it's set in the post-apocalyptic environment. I see that there are some questions, so maybe let's start from that. Jobra biggest question I have is, does it have a multiplayer? No, Shelter expansion is going to be a single player experience, just like every other expansion so far. However, we might have some cool news later this year, but that's all I can say for now, for those of you who are multiplayer enthusiasts. And other questions, if they are not related to Shelter, we'll answer them at the end of the stream or next week, because today we just wanted to make the priority to show you guys this expansion. So as I was saying, we've been inspired by many various works of art. So one of the core inspirations for us was the movie The Mad Max Fury Road. As you can see on the screenshot right now displayed, this is the sort of color scheme we've been drawn by in the movie for the outside world. Since Shelter is taking place in a post-apocalyptic environment, we wanted to aim for this sort of deserted wasteland with sand and like orange ground colors contrasted by like the deep blue skies above it. Does Shelter have a release date planned? No, we don't want to give you an exact date until we're sure of it, but what I can say right now is going to be most likely released either September or early October. Just want to make sure that this is a polished piece of content, and it's, as I said, it's one of the most ambitious projects so far. So, as I was saying exactly before, this was like the main inspiration for the DLC outside environment. And here are some of the first concepts we have created for the game. So as you can see, we have this desolated wasteland. There are some settlements outside. In this world, well, the civilization pretty much ended by the end of 1980s during the nuclear warfare, and it's taking place on the west coast of the United States, or at least what's remaining of it. And there are some people who are still living, and the player is well, one of those people, right? The next perspective is the shed. So, as I will explain later on in the story, our character finds the shelter in the middle of a wasteland, and underneath the shelter there's actually a well-preserved vault, and this will be our operations base. You can see on the screen, like on the left side of it, like a stand for gun, which will be one of the most important features in the game. Hmm. I think a better question to ask is, will there be multiple locations? Yes, some of you guys, Jobra asked if there will be traveling. Uh, will be limited into a few areas, just like in the other games. However, there will be also other area when player will find himself by the end of the game. I don't want to like spoil too much, but there will be one more area. However, like the traveling of the wasteland is not the goal. We are not making a Fallout or a Skyrim game. We are making cooking simulator still, with just a very uncommon setting, so to say. So this was the first concept of a shed. Now we also went into some more detail. So there is going to be a real storyline. Yes, this will be the first installment in this franchise, which will actually show you the story. Story that you can relate to, that has a plot, has some characters into it, so it won't be just a series of random orders popping up and progressing, but you will actually have lore oriented and story related objectives to do, and I will dive into it furthermore. There's another concept of the shed, and very soon we'll go downwards. The last concepts which were created at the beginning was the mushroom farm. So okay, what is the inspiration for the dishes? What kind of dishes can we expect? So as you might have noticed previously, like the game has this sort of a very subtle layer of self-aware sense of humor, and this is something we also wanted to touch a little bit. So the main inspiration for all the food items was pretty much this piece of work. So we have various mushrooms and other plants which have been irradiated and turned by the nuclear holocaust that has happened, right? But we didn't want to make them creepy looking, but rather tasty. So this will be one of the main sources of food, and soon we will go down and show you guys more details. But this is one of the most important images, because in future products which you will see, the influence of those glowing patterns will be very much visible. So now we go down to the shelter. You might have seen some first screenshots from the teaser we have released, and all this area was modeled on those concept arts. So here's the place where we store all the food. We have a fridge, and since everything was created in the 1980s, because that's when the world ended in the game, we have those like vintage looking items all over the place. This is the main area, which you have also seen in the teaser. We have the grill in the middle, which will be one of the new additions, one of the most important stands used for preparing some tasty dishes for hungry settlers. And the last place is the checkout area. Here's where we will leave all the food we created for the caravan to pick it up, and here's a ladder where we can go outside and reach the shed, which we have seen in the beginning. Of course, this setting has a lot of opportunity for some funny Easter eggs, and that's what we always like to include in our creations. So I can hint you one of those. This is Frida, because at Bitchy Studio we have a very pet-friendly policy, so some of the guys can bring their pets to work if they want to. So Frida was one of such pets, and we have placed Frida in a poster, which is available in the Pizza DLC. And Mazury, the caption underneath the poster is a name of a location in Poland full of lakes. Right, so in Shelter, we wanted to make a special appearance for another of our pets, and this is Istra. She's another dog, and she will be a star in Shelter in the form of a fridge magnet. And there should be some more Easter eggs, but as I said, the point of Easter eggs is not to spoil them from the get-go, so that's all I could share for now. And thank you for appreciating the quality of the pictures. I also agree with you that they are top quality. Speaking about quality pictures, so now we can dive deep into the lore. So as I said, the world has pretty much ended. So, funny question. So, if there are gonna be new meats, will there be rat meat? Yes, we will have mutated rat meat, and this is further down planned in the presentation. So, first of all, we have this intro to the game, which will explain you that the world ended because of a nuclear disaster, right? And after the disaster, there were still some people surviving, and our main character was one of those people. He was born and raised after the war by a family of chefs. So that's how our character got his all uncommon cooking skills, which are a real treasure in the wasteland. And unfortunately, someday he found his family to be kidnapped with only a message left, which was saying, "Find us." So the character goes on a long journey across the wasteland to try to locate his long lost family until he arrives to a place on the map called Sector 12. And as he soon finds out, in the sector there's a place with radio dishes and sort of transmitters that hopefully could be used to transmit a signal strong enough to reach his family. And this is how we find ourselves in the Sector 17. Also, on the way, he stumbles upon the well-preserved shelter, right? So this is the place we know from the start. And in the sector, there are a few factions which are living, factions of other settlers. And as you might already guess, in the wasteland, nothing is free, especially help from others, right? So the antennas are unfortunately broken. So we will need help from all the other settlements to restore them. That could be parts, that could be some other favors. But in order to do it, we'll need to gain their trust. And this is the goal of the story in the game. So, for example, the first location we will trade with is known as Mark Dalton's Ranch. It's a settlement of some sort of outskirts and bandits, you might call it that way. And we'll have a series of quests. So, first of all, we need to gain their trust. We gain their trust by providing them with food. And after we gain enough trust, there we will have certain quests unlocked. So these are sort of specific things we'll need to do for them. For example, in their case, what we have planned is the first quest would be to prepare food for their cows, which are carnivores, by the way. And after we complete that, we'll progress further with their trust, and then we'll have to make a few more quests before they will be willing to help us with the fixing the radio station. So like all of those quests are lore based. They have a written story for them. They are not just random orders, and they are not focused only on cooking, but you might be also required to do some other favors, because for example, as I mentioned earlier, we have this gun and we have mutants to shoot, and some quests require us to keep the mutants population in on the certain level. So that might be one of the side quests we will be required to do. So how we will gain their trust? Obviously by becoming the best food provider in the wasteland. So here are more examples of the products we will have. If you still guys remember the first picture I've shown you, the one from the farm, from the glowing mushrooms, right? So this is the one I'm referring to. You can see the strong influence of this creature in pretty much all the food items. We have carrots over here, carrots which we can grow underground in our shelter. We have a special farm for that. So they have the luminescent patterns. And as I said, we wanted to use the radiation as a source of creating very interesting but also tasty looking items, not necessarily disgusting or creepy or scary or whatever. Next one is, those are just a few examples. I obviously won't be able to show you guys all the food products. For example, we have broccoli, and to me personally, a very cool tweet about this image is that it looks like a atomic blast mushroom cloud from a distance. That's sort of the shape of it, and we also have the glowing parts on the top, which is pretty cool. More mushrooms. I hope Fluffy Mushroom is today with us, because I'm sure that they would enjoy that. Beans is one more example. Um, and like, to me personally, like, those objects are not only way bigger than the regular ones we know from real life, but also they seem kind of nutritious and tasty in a way. A cacti as well, so there are two versions. So this was the base for our graphic artist to create a 3D models. Eggplants, those are twins. Actually, you can see their cross section. Again, glowing patterns all over them. Eggs, very cool thing, are the veins, which are inspired from like real life deformations on the eggs. However, I think that they give this like sort of a little bit creepy, uh, creepy feel to them, which is, I believe, pretty cool. Last I could show you is a prawn. Here in this case we have the scales on top of across the back of the shrimp, and they look pretty cool, and I agree with you guys that they are pretty creative. But obviously plants and canned food, which is also restored from before the war, are not the only source of food. We'll need to get some protein, right? So for that we'll need to use our BB gun, which was shown in the top of the shed. Will there be a chance for double egg yolk? That's a good question. As far as I know, there will be one yolked eggs, but that's actually a cool feature, and I'll pass it on to people designing the game if they would like this idea. Now we have the BB gun. It's still work in progress though, but this was what we will use to hunt for meat and to gain some protein. Do we have to kill the animals to get their meat? I would love to run around a kitchen and shoot a lobster. Yes, we'll be hunting mutants, as I said, with this BB gun right here. And here are a few ideas. We're going to have 3 species of mutants. So the first one is a vulture. Also looks kind of like a dinosaur with glowing weird bubbles on the neck. And the next one is Armadillo. I remember when the graphic was making research for the Armadillo, and she had like tons of pictures of like various species of armadillos. Some had fur growing from between the scales, and it was pretty cool. Yeah, the glowing throat makes it kind of look the vulture like it was spit in acid. 100% agree. Adds to this like venomous, aggressive post-apocalyptic look. Pretty cool. So the armadillo, and the last one is rat, but unfortunately I don't have art for rat, but I will be able to show you guys rat in the game, hopefully. Here are some examples of how we designed their meat to look. This is vulture meat, and we also have rat meat. We can see like the veins, for example, and there's going to be some pretty cool stuff we can do with that. So as we prepare the food, and since you guys asked that we don't travel ourselves, we will need with some special help, and the help will come from the caravan. So this is the design for the truck, which will be approaching us once a day. It was strongly inspired again by the Mad Max movies, for example. You can still see the idea of salvaging like pre-war items and use them to the best of abilities. We have a washing machine on the side for storage. Of course, we have plates on the front of the windshield to protect from raiders and stuff. So this is the caravan. It will approach us once a day. We will use the caravan to trade with the settlements, so sending them food, but also buying supplies that we will need for further preparing recipes. We can buy recipes from the caravan, buy food products and some other tools. So this will be like, it will replace the shop, which we know from the form of boxes that you guys know from the base game, right? All right. This is the menu we have designed for the caravan shop. It looks quite similar, in my humble opinion, to the ones we know from Stalker. If you guys have played those games, the franchise is very strong in our part of Europe, at least. It's still work in progress, so some of that is in Polish, some of that is in English. There's some dumb stuff written over here because we just used it to sort of assess the proportions and looks, and then we'll be, adding the text and so on. But nevertheless, here it is. It looks kind of like Fallout 1. I'll take it as a compliment. Fallout 1 is one of my favorite games. I even wearing a Fallout t-shirt today because of that. Here are some ideas for the hovers. So we also wanted to keep them in this post-apocalyptic theme with lots of like orange colors into them to reference like the sand and this sort of feel which we have in the game. And you guys also very like the idea of phones introduced in Cakes and Cookies and Pizza. But since that was in the 80s, we couldn't do actually, like a smartphone. So this time we will have a notebook, which is being worked and a lot of effort from our art director. He's making sure that this is nice and clean and looks fantastic. The animations of flipping pages is one of the latest ideas, but we just thought it would be so much cooler to flip the pages instead of just clicking and showing you guys new pictures. Right, you can use it to track quests, recipes. There's going to be a room for that. We have blurred some parts of the text because, as I said, there could be some dumb stuff written over here because it's still work in progress. But nevertheless, that's how it looks like. So we have covered pretty much all the key new aspects, and the others I will be showing you guys in the game. The one last thing is the radio station. As I was saying, we will be doing favors for the other settlers to restore the radio tower and hopefully broadcast a signal strong enough that could reach our character's family. And here are some ideas which we have concepted for the parts that we will need. Here's the list of all of them. We also have here's example model of the headphones that we will need. And this is one of the final locations when we will find ourselves and trying to broadcast the signal. We also have to prepare for the journey, to the towers by preparing some food on the way, by grabbing all those parts and then restoring the tower itself. You guys could have seen the process of creating this specific concept art in one of the previous streams, and there's also a video uploaded to YouTube. So if you guys wanted to know how such wonderful piece of art is being created like from the scratch, you can see the video with a time lapse of our artist first drawing the lines, adding light, shadows, textures, and so on. Will there be some old school radio stations to listen to? Yes, we'll have radios, obviously. The soundtrack is still work in progress, but we want to make sure that you'll have some enjoyable tunes to listen to in your post-nuclear shelter adventure. Last thing I could show you guys, like from behind the scenes of development, is this 3D model. This part exactly is what you can see. Not the carrots, is what you can see in the radio room in the middle, this green part. This green panel is modeled over here. It's fresh from the oven, so to say, because I received this image today morning. So this is how we are developing with the game. And now I can switch to the game because we already have some early build that I could show you guys. By the way, if you guys have any questions related to Shelter, let us know and we'll try to answer them as best as we can, because that's the point of doing this live. So far we're receiving a lot of flattering comments on the artistic side of the project, so thank you so much for that. It really cheers the whole team. Okay, so now we are in the shelter. Like, side note, it's still work in progress. It's on top of the screen, but I just want to make sure that you guys are aware of that. So here the lights are still being tweaked. Will you have to go out and search for the fuel for the oven and the grill? No, like all of those items will be self-sustainable, but we wanted to focus on survival ability of sorts by giving you guys option to hunt for meat, to grow your own plants, and to trade with caravan for other items. Yeah, the orange lights are pretty cool. This is the place where we will be leaving the dishes by the end of the day. So that area might use some extra stronger lights so you guys could see what you have prepared. Here's the checkout window as well for trading with the caravan. And here is the main room, which you can have seen in the concepts. So you can see like the whole 80s vibe to all the stands. This is like something basic we already know from the main game. We have a griddle over here, but of course we made sure that it looks post-apocalyptic enough to turn it on and off. Some tools you already know, like ladles, have been remodeled to fit nicely into the theme of the DLC. The same goes for other tools such as spatula, like this one right here. Do you guys guess what this is? I could give you like a few seconds, but so this is the blender, mixer blender. Yeah, exactly. This is the blender which we know from the base game. However, it was being made from scratch, based on some like power tools. You turn it on. The blades look like a fan of sorts, so something pretty different. We don't have the cover above those. So I think that's pretty cool. Ovens, as usual, they're glowing kind of pinkish. As I said, the light is still being work in progress. You could have seen that in the screenshots. Here's the grill. I can turn it on, but we don't have like the particles for today because we had some issues with preparing the build. But of course, you could see like the glowing orange heat underneath here. So this will be like one of the main tools for preparing like skewers and stuff. Here is in this little corner over here we have the blueprints for all the parts we will need from the other settlers. And here is where we collect them. You can see headphones, the monitor screen, and do you think we could possibly get a 60s style kitchen pre-disaster, maybe as a wishlist goal? Maybe that could be possible. However, that would require us to like model everything once again and design it one more time, and that would be pretty time consuming. However, I could talk with the guys if that would be possible. But you can see like every single object is not being like copied and pasted from the base game, but it's being modeled like from the start to make it look appropriate for the atmosphere, right? So that was already quite a challenge, and that is why this DLC is taking us so much effort, namely because of all those new models and features and completely new setting. Fire extinguisher got turned red, so it's like more of an OG fire extinguisher. That looks pretty cool, right? So here we have the fridge and some of the ingredients I have been showing you previously on the concept arts. Not all of them are final. For example, we are still using normal tomatoes. They will not be here in the final game, but we use them for testing various things. So that's why they are here. But we already have, I guess those will be potatoes, peppers, right? I can show them to you guys in full light. I like the pattern. Looks like a sort of like a marble. I just place it over here. Those caskets over here will be also filled with other products later on. The mob hasn't been updated yet, so it looks like brand new. This will be like a placeholder for some mob company. Their mobs can withstand like 40 years of radiation and abandonment in the shelter and still look good. Joke, obviously. Onions as well, remodeled and with fresh textures. I could even burn some of those over here, and then later on I can cut them for you and show you guys like the cross section. Can you do a cooking simulator VR on stream? Maybe that would be possible. Perhaps the guys developing VR could do that for you. We'll talk with them. The release is still a few weeks away from us, so we'll have the time to make this decision. Oh, this is the one I have mentioned before, so this is like the broccoli. Let's say I shoot the rat and bring it back to the kitchen. We'll have to actually prepare it, like remove the fur and the organs of it using the knife. Well, no. The main reason for that is, like, you know, the base game is like rated for everyone, like PG like 3+, right? And we just wanted to be fair and make like all the other expansions also like friendly for the whole audience. So once you shoot a mutant outside, the meat will just spawn in this section over here, right? Or I mean somewhere around here you will just have spawned meat, so you will not do like vivisections and other things like that, because that would drastically increase the age rating for the game, and we just didn't want to do it. Alright, this is the regular carrot. Here is compared to the shelter one, so we can see there's quite a difference between the two. I like the gradient of changing like from the dark red to like pinkish on the bottom. What else do we have? Oh, we have cacti, which I have been showing you guys on those concept arts, and it looks wonderful in the cross section, so we're going to cut it quickly. What else do we have? Eggplant is regular, beetroot is a regular. This is other product. Looks like a tomato version. So we have that as well. We also have number of posters prepared by the same person who was making the concepts for food products. So here's the division of a rat, rat with a cheese head, other cool things. Here's the magnet I was referring to for Istra, for one of the dogs. This is the city we are from, Łódź. So we have a postcard from here. This is also a cool product. It's a mutated carp. We don't have fishing mechanics. However, we just can purchase them from the caravan, and I think they look pretty sick. They have like 2 eyes on each side. They look kind of more aggressive, with interesting shape and color. Very cool. And I think that's it for all the products we have implemented into the game so far. Here's some more posters to make this place a bit more cozy. And here is the growing section of the shelter. So here is the underground farm with the lamps. It's still work in progress though, and it doesn't look that much impressive, honestly. Here are the spawners for the products. I could show you guys how it works in theory without all the like fancy effects. Can I see the shelter menu? Shelter menu will be an idea for one of the future devlogs, and that is because we don't have like the whole UI implemented yet, and they are being in the form of UI. The recipes, you could browse them from the notebook I have mentioned before. So just I can quickly show you guys one more time how it works. So here's the notebook. Here's how you can browse the recipes in like a easy to access way. And the recipes will feature things like skewers, and this is something I could show you in a moment. However, like the full list will be revealed later on. We will definitely create a post with the recipes, and most likely we'll do more streams in the future as we progress with development. The farm works pretty simple. we'll need some seeds first to plant. This is like a placeholder for a moment, so that's okay. Uh, and we'll need to add some water, obviously. We'll have an indicator which will tell us when it's ready. Okay, so now that is enough. And now we should turn on the lamp. So the lamp has been turned. If we leave it for too long, it will. This is a cool feature. It will turn into a monster, which we'll have to shoot with the BB gun. However, now it's a placeholder penguin model. But if you leave the plants for too long under the lamps, they can change into monsters that you will not be able to pick up. So you'll need to grab the gun and shoot them first, and then plant something new. But we tend to add dumb models as placeholders. So this time it was a penguin. So it is what it is, but definitely also a cool tiny feature to make it more interesting. Maybe let's try one more time with the liquid. Okay, and so now it will be heated. Can it be automated? You can make this process super quick by using boosters. So there will be various boosters which you can add to the water, and then the plant will grow pretty much instantly. If not, you will need to plant them and then wait, but I'll use the cheat console for that, and you can just first of all need to find the right button for it. Okay, so after a while the plants will grow after a day most likely, and you will be able to harvest them. And once I click over here, the products will be added to the spawners on this shelf. So either you will need to plant seeds, water them, turn on the lamp and wait one day, or just add the seeds, water them, add booster and collect pretty much immediately. So this process is very simple, and like also a lot of products can be bought from the caravan if you just don't fancy that. And what I should also mention, it's quite obvious, but just like make things straight, we will have like sandbox mode, just like we do with every other piece of content for Cooking Simulator. So sandbox mode, as you guys all know, will be available from this. In the sandbox mode, you'll have all the recipes, all the ingredients in infinite amount, and you can do whatever you want without any stress. So that's cool. And here are some example things you can grow in the farm. So here are a few kinds of mushrooms. Are the skills going to remain the same? Pretty much yes. We will have skills you guys know from the main game, such as freezing items while being cut and so on. Some of them might be adjusted for sake of shelter. We might have a few more, but we just don't want to confirm that yet because it's still work in progress, and we don't want to give you guys any false promises on that. So here are, as I said, some mushrooms we can grow over there. There are still work in progress. More perks, yes, possibly it could be more perks, but I am not 100% certain of it, so let's just stick to maybe for now. Okay, so we have those mushrooms as an example. Okay, I could show you guys some other tools we have also remained, and also at the end grab a knife and show you how it works. Okay, so here's a boss which shouldn't be present in the final game because we'll use caravan for that. So some of those have been remodeled. So for example, pots have a completely remade 80s vibe. Here's it's called pipeta in Polish. So it's a tool which can use to just suck in a small amounts of liquid and then just drizzle them over products. So it's very useful for drizzling stuff. Is like the daytime different? Like, will the day be shorter, longer than the normal day? Like, I would say pretty much similar to what we know. Water drop, yes, I know that. Pretty much similar to what we know from the base game. Here, the clock in the regular mode will be showing you the time of the day, and at the same time every day there will be caravan approaching, and you could request some extra time, and then you will need to sell them. So what is cool is that you're going to have like unlimited prep phase pretty much. So at the start of the day you can grow food, go hunt some mutants. You cannot use the workstations, so you cannot bake anything or do any cooking, but you can resupply. Then you have time to cook, and then afterwards sell, and then the process repeats. Cutting board also has been remodeled for the purpose of shelter. Oh, this is the model of a gun. It doesn't have a texture yet, so I'll show it to you. It glitched out painfully, so pan remodeled as well. Smaller pot, which we know. Spatula we have seen, and the coolest of them all is the brand new knife. Tell me guys, doesn't look sick. I think it's amazing. Very post-apocalyptic feel to it. Looks kind of heavy and sharp and aggressive, rusty. So that's pretty cool, and we can use it for cutting stuff. So we can cut fish right here. No mercy. We can cut this cacti. Where we'll be able to see how to make the dish. You will be able to do it from your notebook, so you'll have all the instructions over there. So from the one I've shown you guys previously on those screens, so you'll have the recipes over here, and also what you can see right now, I think you can see it, like it's in the top right corner under the wishlist thing. You have a list of quests that you'll need to prepare and the recipes you should be working on. It's still work in progress, so this is just plain text, but it will have a nice UI just like everything else, so you will always know what to do. Plus the notebook, which will have all the knowledge you might possibly seek. I was saying the card has a very cool cross section, so here's how it looks. Fish as well. Yes, we unlock the dishes as we play. You can purchase them, for example, from the caravan. They have items that you can buy, and they will give you new dishes. So how it works is that we have a map, which I could show you guys. Here's one of the locations, and here when we click on that, we will have quests that we'll need to do, right? And so they might require some recipes. They might also just fancy certain products that they want to have included. But also a very cool mechanic is that, as you can see, there's a number of settlements. I mentioned the first one was Mark Dalton's ranch. We also have another settlement, which is, for example, the idea for it, which might have changed over the course of development, but the idea was that there was a mine not far away, and people have been living in this mine after the war, and they have mutated and they have gotten used to radiation, so they actually want their food to be radiated, right? And this is also something you might want to take into consideration, because otherwise they will not be happy with what you provide them. So it's not only about the foods and their quality, but also the radiation level. Some want them low, some want them higher, and this is being reflected in the UI as well. In the UI, even here you can see that the products, they have the radiation level displayed, right? Some products have lower, some have higher, and you will need to make sure that you keep the levels as the settlement wants them. So there's the layer of preparing, as I said, correct recipes that you learn with products that they want, and that will give you more, this will give you trust. After a certain level of trust, you will have quests unlocked for each settlement, right? So in this case, here's just an example, right? There are some quests they want us to make. So they want us to hunt rats because they want us to lower the population of rats in the desert, and also they want certain recipes because they are making a feast or they need to prepare some cow feed or anything like that, right? And they also have specials. So here are some special orders which we can also accept for extra rewards, right? So this is going to make this game more diverse in the terms of challenges the player will be facing, right? So after we max out the location, they will give us the part we need for the antenna, and we can also work on other locations as well. At the beginning we only work on one, and later on we might work with multiple at the same times. Yes, as I was saying, we have sort of there's a chance for seeing some dump placeholder texts as it's being developed, because we need something to just live in here to just hold the place, right? And then like all the texts are being just brought from like the other place where the translations are and everything else. So this is how we do it. Here's a shelter in the middle, so military base, other factions, and we have the antennas over here. So, like all of them, they want something else. Here's our current level of trust with them, if they are happy with us or not. The radiations level they want. Here's the special ingredient that they fancy. In this case, it's tomato as a placeholder. So that's how it works. That's how we progress, and that's the goal. Okay, we can cut something else. Let's see how it's going to look. The cross section. Tomato has an awesome cross section. Carrot, broccoli, onions as well. Let's see the shrooms. This could be still work in progress though. There's the disclaimer on the top, so. Can we explore the areas outside the shelter? There's no traveling. Let me just place the hugest knife over here. But we can go upstairs, outside, above to the shed, and I'll show you guys after we will do the tours. So this is one of the new dishes we will be serving. Of course, the pointing is still a little bit weird sometimes. As I said, this is very early stage work in progress build. So here's one post-nuclear skewer, and we can do more. Here's one with a head. Let's go for some more fish. And broccoli. Okay. Then we'll need to turn the drill on. As I said, it doesn't have the correct particles, but that's how it works. And we'll be able to turn them to make sure that they are all nice and crispy from each side. And this is pretty much all new. We have a supplement for a nice view outside above the sink, because that's the best we can do. This is what the shelter is about, making the best of a not so great situation. And now let's go upstairs. This is the most work in progress area so far. You can compare that to there's something weird with the field of view. Let me just quickly address that. Okay, so here's how it looks right now. Still work in progress. And now let's compare that to the shed concept. I think it's pretty close. You can see. Nice shashlik, thank you. Shed concepts and the game. So here is as far as we can go, and over here we'll have running mutants. those three species we have mentioned in the start of the stream. So we'll have vultures flying, we'll have armadillos and mutated rats. Those weird things over there, those are the other settlements, but they have not been added, but they will be there in the end. And the caravan will be approaching us, and as the caravan gets closer, it will be louder and louder and louder, so that's also cool. This table is the one for the BB gun, and we will also be able to add some upgrades to it. By having good relations with certain settlements, they will give us parts for the radio tower, but also for the gun. This should be also shown in the concept, hopefully. So let me show you guys that. Yep, let's just disable the... So for example, we have a basic gun sight in this image, and then upgrade would be like a scope of sorts, right? So it will have 2 or 3 upgrades to make using this a bit more fun. It's still work in progress, so it doesn't have a texture yet, but we'll work on that soon. Are all DLCs coming to VR? Maybe. VR is being developed by a different team, by Game VR, and that really depends on their possibilities. They first want to make sure that like the base game is working fine, and in full capacity, and then they will decide on what to port next. So here's the BB gun. As I said, still shooting is still work in progress. So that might change, but we can aim down sights. We will make sure like the bottom part is remade because of the view, which is not the greatest right now. And those blobs over there, those are the mutants that we are supposed to hunt. Again, those are still placeholders for the actual mutants because, you know, it's still being developed. And this is how we hunt them, and after they're being shot, we can harvest their meat and then go forward. I'll use the photo mode quickly to exit and show you guys the shed from outside. Do we get something when we kill them? Yes, we will get meat, which will be spawned in the base, and then you can use that for hunting. There should be a rat running somewhere out here, I hope, and if not, then that's fine. There's unfortunately no rat spawned, so maybe I'll be able to show you guys in the future. At this rate, when do you think this will be finished? We are aiming for the release in like September or early October. This is the best estimate. Yeah, unfortunately, we had the rat model when I was playing earlier. Maybe if I reload the game, it will appear, hopefully. So let me do that quickly for you. And if you guys have any questions, let us know, because that was pretty much all we have planned for today's showcase. As we progress further with the development, we will have more features implemented, and we'll definitely keep you updated, because there's still some time for the release. I believe like the game tends to crash in the state, so let me just quickly reset that, and I'll try to show you guys the rat model if it loads properly in the game, hopefully. And I should be also able to find at least a concept art for it somewhere, so that's something we can show you definitely next time, if it doesn't work out right now. Okay, so now I am reloading the game, and just one final try for the rat. So let's see if we'll be able to show you guys that. Okay, so now the game's loading. Again, if you have any questions, let us know. I'll just quickly remind you that we will be starting the dev vlogs very soon, because that milestone has been pretty much reached. In the devlogs, we will dive deeply into certain parts of the game, how they are being developed, what were the ideas and inspirations for those features. Okay, here we are. Last time I saw a rat was like down. I don't want a screenshot. Last time I've seen a rat was like somewhere downhill, so maybe we'll be able to find this bad boy. And if we are unlucky, then next time I'll show you. Oh, here's a vulture in the sky. Unfortunately, the rats haven't been able to show today's stream, so this is something we'll show you next time. And definitely in the devlog related to mutants, we will show you exactly how they work and how they look. So again, like the release is planned with by the end of the summer, September or early October. I have a friend who is very afraid of most video games. Will there be a setting that can change the model to something a bit less scary that might help people of all audiences play the games even scaredly? Cats like my friend enjoy the game. We don't plan such settings because like all the mutants that you just see are from very far away and there are no jump scares. They just walk around, they do not attack the player in any way, they don't approach you. Like we just roam in the desert and you'll be able to shoot them and you will not see them like from far away and any wounds and something like that, because after you shoot them the meat will spawn in this section over here where all the ingredients are. The wild rat is probably sleeping under the sand. Yes, something like that. We had plans for adding rats somewhere in the shelter that they could surprise you, but as far as I know, that feature is gone, so it won't be finally in the game. What I could also share with you is that when we started developing the DLC, we had two ideas for like the plot. The first one was that we are part of a community which is living in a shelter, and we are the shelter's chef, and our job is to provide food for other inhabitants and make sure that they will survive enough years to then leave the vault and live outside. And the other idea was that we will not be a part of a community, but we'll just be this lone wanderer who's trying to complete a certain quest. And this is the idea we went for. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's stream. Will we get a shelter discount? Let me quickly change the scenes. We have something which we are running as sort of an entertainment for the waiting period. It's called Wishlist Challenge. It doesn't pretty much cost you anything to participate. Basically, what we do is that if you guys wishlist shelter and enough people do that, it will unlock certain rewards. You just need to go to Steam and add it to your wishlist, and the rewards are for everyone. Doesn't matter if you added it to your wishlist or not, they are just available for everyone. But just adding this to the wishlist, first of all, will help you get notified about the release of the game. If you enjoy it, if you like what you saw, you will receive information about it, and also helps us to develop a better game. So the first reward was a sneak peek stream. This is something we do right now. Next, we're launching Devlord series. Then we will have wallpapers, and the next reward is a launch discount that we should be able to come up with Steam, hopefully for you guys. So this is further down the road, but we would really love to implement it anyway. Okay. Your friend is feeling better with the rats solution. Great. So thank you guys, and hopefully we'll see you in the future streams when we have more to share, and very soon we'll be running the devlogs. So once again, thank you for joining us today, and I wish you all a wonderful rest of the week. Thank you again, and see you soon.